Good good night, good evening, good morning to whichever part of the world you're joining me from. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey coming to you live on the Voice of Guyana. As a matter of fact, sorry, um, I'm saying Voice of Guyana, the GMS Live Radio Guyana online, and I'm coming to you live also on the Facebook and YouTube. And I'm also live on Instagram. If you check your Instagram account, you'd realize that I am on that too. So I am transmitting live on all four networks. The GMS Live Radio Guyana, that's an app on the Play Store. The Dr. Matthews Bay Show on the Facebook and also on YouTube. And I'm also transmitting live on Instagram as I speak. So, welcome to you all. Islam to you, my brothers and sisters, to those who are listening, looking, and paying attention. You know, Dr. Matthews Bay has always been and will always be the person that will always wanted to teach and to make sure that I am I am not only being understood, but the information is correct. What is happening is that I'm going through some internet blackout. Do mind me, it's this de facto administration, and I'm expected to be on the. It depends though, but I'm expected to be also on the Mr. Duncan show just after my my live program here tonight. So let me start without any hesitation. When I started last night, it was after 9. I understand that. Sorry, I comprehend that. But that is not really my fault. I'm trying to see how best I can get to come on at a particular time so people can be able to view me. But if I am not being broadcast live, it becomes a difficult task for me. So please do uh mind the way in which or the time that I take to come on, because sometimes I really don't get to broadcast live. I really don't get to transmit live. I don't get to live stream live some nights, and it's being a difficult task. So sometimes when I'm finished and I think I'm live streaming, Facebook puts my live stream an hour after, 2 hours after. Sometimes I waited a whole day. I think like today I saw my program up live that I did last night on Facebook, which I wasn't live today. So it's a kind of a fight to get things done, to get your broadcast out to make people or to help people comprehend that it's all about the struggle, and you're struggling to make sure that the information is correct and you're getting things going on board. So a pleasant good evening to you. Share the live as you now come in. Please, if you don't share the live, no one will know that I'm on. So share the live. And also, help people to, because a lot of people get to see me after. That's why some people don't get the time to call in. A lot of people see me after. Okay? All right. So now the topic tonight is a discussion of the internet blackout and the reasons why certain persons will have the internet blackout like me, because I'm always on point. And this is one of the main reasons, because the Moors of America, which I'm one of them, we we not only seek not only to investigate, but we seek to make and to liberate ourselves from a system that incarcerates us, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually, it's an incarceration by the corporate system that we live by. So, me teaching about the Moors, especially in this part of the Amexium, and Guyana, who is a corporate entity on our land, it's becoming a topic of issue. You comprehend what I'm saying to everybody who's listening? It's becoming a topic of issue. Uh, to those who are listening on the Instagram, just give me a heads up. I know that I know one of the issues is hearing me, so I want to make sure that I'm speaking loudly. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm speaking loudly and people being able to hear me. So I'm looking at two screens. Okay. So give me a thumbs up. Let me know. I want to make things a little bit more better where the microphone system is attached to all four, attached to one particular, sorry, instrument that the sound is being transmitted on all four networks. Okay. Good. So we're talking about the Moors. And so before we go on, I want people to comprehend that the Moors, yes, we are a revolutionary group of people, but we do not revolt in arms. We revolt in what you call the pen is mightier than the sword. We use the constitution that was created by us, that has been adopted by the system, and their acts, codes, conducts, and statutes as are added to it. So then we now use that particular instrument to seek our freedom, and we have been successful in it. Uh, we have been successful in it on lots of occasions. Our community is growing, it's large. We have our own banking system, we have our own shopping system, we have our own food that we produce. We don't eat the things that the system is tasked you to eat. We are not these how should I put it over? We don't eat a lot of foods that has these preservatives inside. We eat a lot of fresh food. We live a bit longer. We promote herbal medication because that's the best way to go than what comes out of the pharmaceutical system, and then that's what's being studied in these labs. So as you come in, brothers and sisters, as you come in, uh, share the live with your friends and families and let them know that Dr. Matthews-Bey is on the air. Uh, yes, so we're talking about the internet blackout, and the reason why the internet blackout is here because if you realize, for those who looked at the Vice News thing with the domicile vice president, the 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 de facto vice president and the de facto administration of the PPP, you'd realize just after that Vice News interview and the program that was aired on Showtime, just after that were the Showtime airing of the Moors and what we have wanted. We're claiming back our lands. We're claiming the entire Americas. We're helping one to comprehend that this is this is who we are. The lands in which the corporations, all these corporations are on, are here because of a treaty that was entered into, I say 1777, yes, but basically 1777 and 1778, between those 2 years, because those treaties was drafted up between that period and signed and went into. A treaty means a contract for you to invest upon the land, and we collect royalties of the land thereof. So that was basically what the treaty was about. And we continue to engage media, subjects of the Corporation of Guyana, and Aboriginal peoples of this land. And I will continue to do so because we want persons to know, especially those that are in the media. We want them to know that. We are not here to cause a civil unrest, or we're not here to violently promote violence just to the retaking of our lands. We are here basically to tell you that that the Americas belongs to us. You came here, you meet us. We were Aboriginal, indigenous people of this land. And the reason why I'm saying so because I want people to comprehend. As a matter of fact, to those who know history and studied what you call Aboriginal history and antiquities, you must get to understand, you must get to comprehend that the Bantu people were here long before the Europeans became civilized in 1600s. As a matter of fact, in the early in in the late 1500s to the 1600s, that's when they came. That's when they got themselves organized and decided to think that they want to take over the world. They want to do all what they feel like. But that's when they came. They came in the late 15 to the early 1600s. And they came as settlers. They came and meet a people that they call the Bantu people. Check. And that's what I love about the internet. The internet is there to give you some information or not. But you got to get the direct information. You got to make sure where you're getting the information from so you can comprehend what I'm talking about. Right? And the Bantu people, you would well normally they look like me. I haven't I haven't got rid of my complexion. I'm still Bantu. I'm still more however you spell it. You want to spell it Moor or Muur. It is the same pronunciation, but we are Moors. We are Arabic. We're Arabic speaking people. We're Arabic written languages. So you can get to understand, sorry, you can get to comprehend the type of people we are. We are not Muslims, we are Muslims. We're not religious, if you comprehend. We're not a religious sector of persons. We are what you call indigenous, aboriginal Moors. That's who we are. Islam is a part of our lifestyle. It's our culture. That's why we say Islam, I, self law, am master. That's what we teach. That's what we teach our children. So we want you to comprehend that we're here to tell you that we want our lands back. And we make no qualms about it. We're helping because we're helping you to comprehend is that it was taken by the British, the Dutch, the French. All these are colonial powers. They entered into a treaty. They failed to live up to the treaty. They have violated the treaty, which is a contract. That's why they have problems with us because now we study black law, okay? And we make sure that we bring the same system back to them because it was the system of the Arabic teachings that they developed their constitution upon. They knew these things. This was the Spanish conquest. They lived the entire, as a matter of fact, the entire world lives the comprehension of the Spanish conquest. That's how they live. Hold on. Let me make sure. Okay. Yes. Okay. So that's what we do presently. That's why as I was telling a colleague of mine, I said Guyanese are what you call corporate citizens. That's a fact. You can't shy away from it. They are corporate citizens. That's why they have problems with me now. Because I'm not a corporate citizen anymore. I'm not a Guyanese citizen anymore. I'm an Aboriginal, Indigenous, Allodious, Noble Moor. That's who I am. I've proclaimed, I've identified. That's why my name at the end of the name it says Bay. Gavin Matthews Bay. Because Bay is the identification to the title of the Americas. Okay? Bay is the identification. And I'm holding this knowledge so I can teach those who are like me because the difference is you're in a political system. You got the PPP and you got the AP and UAFC. Both are political parties. Both represent a corporation. They do not represent you, you, the indigenous person. And I'm not talking about the Amerindians because the Amerindians belongs to the system because they adopt the name Amerindians. That is why when you look at my show now, these days it says enforcing the Constitution, seasons 2, episode 4, because it's telling you that I am enforcing the Constitution from its originality, from whence they came and met. The Constitution are living souls. And if you look at the Constitution in the corporation, it's still the same thing because it says, we the people constitute. And if the people fail to act, well, then the executive in which they elect acts upon them. You find that's why you find Mr. Jagdeo is acting in that manner. And Irfard is acting in that manner because the Constitution gives them the permission to act because the people fail to act. The people fail to identify themselves, which they are the Constitution. And they don't know that. For and the simple logic tells you, look, let us say somebody makes a report about you and they take you to the police station. The police comes maybe to arrest you. The minute they arrest you and you cannot defend yourself, then you are not part of the Constitution. You're domicile. So because you cannot identify yourself, you're domicile, you're delinquent. And now they take advantage of you by putting you before the court and say anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And when you say you plead guilty, well, you're in problems. And when you say you plead not guilty, you can't defend yourself. The court now says you gotta take a defense attorney to represent you. But the law says, according to the Representation of the People's Act, you can represent yourself. But a lot of people don't know that. So what I did, I looked at everything and said to myself, okay, I got some problems here. It's hard for me to represent and it's hard for me to look upon the system and the system gives me my justice because you can't get justice anywhere in the corporation of Guyana. You can't get justice by the police force. You can't get justice by the director of public prosecution. You can't get justice by the magistrates courts. You can't get justice by the Supreme Court. The only court you can get justice now is the Caribbean Court of Justice, and if you ain't got money, can't eat your dinner because you got to pay for the case jacket in order to be filed in the Caribbean Court of Justice. You got money. If you ain't got $140,000, friend, your case ain't gonna be heard. You got money to file that jacket there, $700, and it depends too upon the virtue of the case. It depends because if the case is high profile, it's more than $700. No, because I am an Allodious noble, I'm an Article 3 judge in an Article 3 court. What happens then? I Now, who speaks the laws of my forefathers and of my ancestors, who represents the Constitution, which is me, the living soul. When I speak, it becomes law. And the courts know these things. The courts know them. Those lawyers know it. They know that they cannot prosecute an Article 3 person, Article 3 judge. They know that they cannot prosecute an American state citizen because they are corporate state citizens. They are LLCs, limited liability corporations. They're LLCs. That's what they are. They are attorneys at law and judges and magistrates, and their positions are illegal. They are de facto, because to stand as a magistrate, you have to be elected by. And who are they elected by? They're not elected by anybody. They're being appointed. That's another story for some people who are willing to comprehend. To those law students who are looking at the show presently, because I got a few of them that's call me pertaining to uh, uh, a few of them that's call me pertaining to what I have to say at the end of the day. But these are the facts. These are the facts. So it's to let them know that we want back our lands, right? And we're making sure that we're telling them that we, as an Aboriginal people of this land, we're claiming our lands back. And I'm teaching my people that knowledge is power. And with great power, you need to comprehend what next to do. So here's what we're doing. We're expropriating the lands without compensation. That means we're telling you to get off our lands and we're not compensating you. You need to compensate us because you already violated the treaty. The treaty was to pay us royalties. You never did. The first thing they did is try to enslave our people by changing the history of our people and formulating them under corporation. It was never supposed to be that way, but they corporated themselves and they started to enslave the Aboriginal indigenous people of the land. Some of them said they bring me here. They didn't bring me here, friend. They came here and meet us. Christopher Columbus, in all his discovery, wrote in his book that he came here and met the dark-skinned people that he called the Swarty. Hmm? That was then called the Bantu, because that's the only definition they could have talked to, because we spoke a language that they never comprehend, so they just understood us as being a Bantu people. And up to now, they still did not comprehend. Now they're trying to. You know what's the amazing thing? The amazing thing is that in the treaty came a constitution, and they took that constitution, plagiarized it, and add to it acts, codes, conducts, and statutes. Acts, codes, conducts, and statutes. I know what happened after that. That's how they capture most of us. And we fall for it. And under the statutes, they created uh I'm just not going to remember, fiat currency. And we think that's the money. We think, oh yes, the bills with it. You can imagine these people come all the way from nowhere and present to us a piece of paper with some ink and some numbers on it which they don't own, and give it to us, and we surrender all our lands for those things, and those things means nothing. Money The fiat currency means nothing, it's worth less. For instance, take a good look at Venezuela next door. Take a look. Sanctions brought the country to its knees with all the money they had. It's worth nothing right now. With all the money that it had, it's worth nothing right now. And you know why Venezuela made to that position? Because as an oil producing corporation, 90% of their consumable items were imported. They stopped farming. They stopped producing their own products. Look at what's going on to the Corporation of Guyana now. It is the same thing. That's what is going to happen. And that's what this de facto administration is leading to. 90% of the produce is going to be imported. Just now they're going to tell you sugar going to be imported. Just now they're going to tell rice is now being imported, sugar now being imported. The basic commodities, they start bringing flour from Trinidad that ain't got no value. You see Trinidad and flour from the Guyana flour? They start bringing flour from there. It ain't got no particular value. These basic commodities are now being imported. And just now, it's going to become a problem. And why it's going to become a problem? Because none of us cannot, none of you who are Guyanese corporate citizens cannot rectify that problem because the de facto regime that you have in place are blind. They're only seeing cash. Everybody talking about cash. Billions of US dollars or billions of Guyana dollars. That's all that's upon the mind of the people. Forgetting that the resources are far more worth than the cash that they're talking about. The resources of the country, that's the money. That's why lawful currency is gold and silver. But they're not going to tell you that. They can tell you US currency. But look and see what they're mining. Look and see what they're taking out from our land, which is America. Look and see what they're taking out. The resources, they're here for the resources and they're giving you currency. Fiat dollars. That makes no sense. That has no worth. They're giving you that money, taking your resources. Ask me if it makes sense. Give you the fiat currency, take your resources, care to where where their home is, devalue it, and sell it right back to you. Tell me if that's economics. Tell me if that is economics. Tell me. I'm trying to find out what kind of economics is that. So, as a more, my position is to make sure that you are being well fed with the knowledge, because it's not only that they're taking your resources, they're taking your edification process, they're bringing they're bringing the edification process, hand it to the ministry that turns it into education, teach your children it. So when they grow up, they attend university, they graduate, they remain a third grade student. Because in like any other places, uh all these corporations that are released from the colonialized corporations are called third world. And you don't understand, and a lot of you don't comprehend the meaning of third world. Third world means third grade. You're under third grade. Because as long as you cannot understand the etymologies of a conversation or words that you're being fooled by, you're third grade. Because etymology is being taught in third grade. That's why when people come to the country, when people come to your cooperative system and they talk to you, and they get to realize that you cannot comprehend what they're saying because you're under them. So they treat you like slaves. Don't fight with all the doctorate you got. They treat you like slaves. And they say, well, okay, no problem, but you are subject to them. Why do you think the US ambassador treats a fraud like a child? Because he is. She alone runs the entire country along with those that she installed. The Chinese are here, they can do what they feel like, but as long as they interfere with the oil, the US don't really care. Because the US knows that's billions of dollars. Chinese can talk what they feel like. And they know that. You don't think they know that? They know that. They comprehend all of that. And the hurtful thing is that they continue to take. Just check at it. $500 billion passed in a budget in the Corporation of Guyana. And not a single cent for a working population. You can imagine the budget that was passed is three times the population, the working population, which is 450,000. Which is 450,000. The budget that they pass is three, four, five times the amount of the working population, which is 450,000. This robbery by daylight. And they take all the money and give it to 1%. That's economic robbery. Believe you me. To all those who are looking, I just can't comprehend. That's economic robbery. That's economic genocide. And you got to fight for the crumbs that falls off the table. They ain't even giving you it. The crumbs that falls off the table. Tell me what kind of inspiration that you can gain from that? Nothing. Nothing. You understand? I, in my 23 years of seeing the PPP tear apart the Corporation of Guyana, I have came from a corporation that I have seen that has excommunicated young men and women of Aboriginal descent. Excommunicate them, execute them. A lot of them die in the streets. And now it's back on the same program. They got an internet blackout, and just so you can see a lot of us start dropping like flies because there's nobody to make claim. It is time we take back our lands. If this is how we gotta live in a corporate system that violated the treaty, man, seriously, think about it. If this is how we gotta live in a corporate system, it's best we take back our lands because we're indigenous. We're Aboriginal indigenous persons. We were the first and we'll always remain the first. We are the original people. It is time you arise to open your eyes and see the truth. Makes a lot of difference. Open your eyes and see the truth. We need to. You know, when I look at it, I'm looking at this in general. The Aboriginal people without anything and our rights to land. We are the Bantu people means the original. We are the Bantu people. We are the Moors. I am who I am. I'm a noble. I'm an American state citizen. And when I mean America, I don't mean the US. I mean on the continent of America, the South America, North America, Central America, the Americas. Means one thing, America. I'm an American state citizen. I have all right. I have all right to proclaim my nationality and take back what they have taken from us. And we need to stand as a people and proclaim that. We need to. We need to let people know it is time. Expropriation without compensation. We don't care because they don't care about us. They will never care about us. They don't have time for dialogue. You see how they operate? Imagine they came all the way from India and they're telling you who are Aboriginal that you have no access to the land, which is yours. You think they don't know? They know what I'm talking about. And you imagine they keep a society of the brethren, of the Freemasons, and talk about these same things, and nobody stands up to talk about it. Some of us who are part of it, yes, we sit and talk about it. We know these things, but we prefer to keep our brothers and sisters in bondage. According to my brother on the comment, economic murder, because this is what it is. It's not giving us any freedom. It's not allowing us to proclaim who we are and who we must be. It becomes a struggle. But we intend to fight. We intend to fight, especially me. I intend to teach my children the truth. It must be an edification of the truth. Knowledge. They must know where they came from. They must know their nationality. They must know their indigenous rights. They must know that they are heirs to the land of the Americas. We weren't brought here by choice. We were born here. And I'm telling you that. And I'm honoring my mother and my father because my days will and shall be long upon the earth because it is their ancestral knowledge that I'm sitting here talking about. And you know why I'm talking about it? Because every 50 years is a new dispensation of young people. Every 25 years a new dispensation of young people. And you know what happens? Every time young people come, they come not only with a new dispensation, but a new knowledge of things. So they're constantly erasing the past. They're constantly erasing history of that young man and woman. So they can't find out. But little did they know that history and politics are the same. Because you know why? Politics derives itself from history. And commerce derives itself from politics, and that's how they make money. So those who control your story controls your life, controls your economy. Because the less you know is the better for them. That's how it works. That's how it works globally. That's how it works. And I'm going to tell you this. You know, those who are looking, check and see what Mr. Malemo talks about from South Africa, from the EFF party, Economic Freedom Fighters. Check. It talks about the upliftment of a people back to where they came from, to proclaim their wealth, which is land. And I can tell you wealth is not land. I can tell you wealth is the US currency. the greenback as they call it. That piece of paper with some ink on it. This is what I tell you well it is. And we're working so hard with it and for it. Man, we going hell over waters to make sure that we proclaim for the use of the US currency, for the fiat dollars. That makes no sense. I know it's hard. And that's part of the economy. Yes, I comprehend what you're saying, but the only time that can change is when somebody stand up to make that change. It's the only time when somebody stand up to make that change. So it's time somebody stand up. Change we must be able to accept change because that's how the world changed. And we're tired of it. It's time we say it's time to change. You understand? It is time we make that change as a people. It's time because you got a political system and nobody gaining from it. Whether it be black or East Indian or whatever you want to call it, nobody is gaining anything from it. What are you gaining? Hmm? What are you gaining? You're gaining same political capitalist leaders, but there's only some of them are doing it in a different form. So it's time you get rid of that. The political system isn't making any headways for you. None whatsoever. I explained to a young man a couple of nights ago. I said the only way you can proclaim yourself as an indigenous aboriginal person is refuse to renew your documents. Refuse to renew your passports, your license, your ID card. Refuse to renew all of these things that has an expiry date. Don't renew it. When you don't renew it, you know what happens? You're not a part of the system anymore. You're not a corporate citizen. So they can't govern over you because you cannot identify yourself. In order for the system to govern over you, you have to identify yourself to the system. Simple. If there's no one to identify who is there to govern, they need all of you to take away your rights. So that's why they can issue oil blocks and lands to the Chinese and all these things. Is because if you're there, they'll be able to take away your rights. You got to be in a bundle. We got to comprehend all these things. It's a must. It is a must. We must be able to teach our children the facts. We can't shy away from it. We got to teach them the facts. We got to teach them the rightful things. We must be able to do that. We need to empower them. Now is the time. Because at the end of the day, they got to get up and make that change. Guyana is a corporate system. It's a business entity. They only operate, Guyana can only flourish on commerce, like every other system in the world. And under that corporate system has a recognition of boundaries that you call the country. But it could only be activated, it could only be real by the citizens of the corporate system. You call them corporate citizens, Guyanese. I come out of that because it didn't make no sense. At the end of the day, who benefits? A piece of land, a car, and a house you call that benefits? No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry. Sorry, doesn't work that way. We must be in control. We must be in control of our lands. We must be able to say who we do business with. If you can't come and do proper business and you come in this form and this manner, well, you need to go, you need to be deported. You and your system need to just go. People, I heard somebody talk about this whole government are being overthrown. It make no sense. You take your government system and go. We don't even want to, we don't even desire your system. It makes no sense. It's to enslave the masses all the time. That's why we say the pen is mightier than the sword. We take what is rightfully ours by the laws in which was designed, which you govern yourself by. Yes. That's how we now rise up and take what is rightfully ours. Because the Constitution represents us. We are living souls. You're not. You are a corporate entity, directed, guided, and being enslaved by that entity and by those who call themselves hierarchies of these entities, like the Commonwealth and the Organization of American State and all these people. Oh, now you got the Americas. Yes, that was hosted in Los Angeles the other day. The fourth sessions of the CEO of Americas, of the Americas. Yes, we know all these things. But at the end of the day, we must be able to comprehend the facts and the truth. My people must be able not only to be revolutionists, but must be able to free thyself. Like someone talked to me about next month emancipation. I mean, you ever check it? That's a waste of time. Emancipation of who? Black people? You're right to say black people because if you're black, you belong to the system. Because I'm not black. Black is a corporate identity for Aboriginal indigenous people. For those who are enslaved. Yes. Yes, 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 100%. And if you check the meaning of black, it means to be pale. So I don't know what you're holding on to because that's not the definition of you if you think you're black. If you think you're black, no problem. Black lives matter, yes, in the corporate system. My life is not black, so I don't have to worry about that. You need to edify yourself. We need to study the etymologies of these words that comes out of our mouths. That's the law. That's how they hold us accountable. Because you stand up and you say, I'm black. And they say, okay, you're black. I didn't know that. Well, now I can hold you accountable to your words. Systematically, that's what black means. It's an adjective, can be added to a product, can be sold. That's why they treat you like a product. Instead of they saying human beings, they call you subjects to the system. You can imagine that. And that's what human beings mean too. Yes, being a subject. To be human, to be buried 6 feet under the earth. And it's amazing to see how life has changed because of ignorance and not knowing the etymon of which we exist. Believe you me, brothers and sisters. Believe you me, we need to come out of the situation that we're in, proclaim our journey. I know it's different. I'd rather be different. I'd rather fight for the existence of my brothers and sisters who are in bondage and cannot see it than to sit and be quiet. I'd rather fight because I don't want my children to grow up in a system that you're now growing up in that can destroy you and destroy them. One person said, well, you got to think about your children when you're getting into these kind of fights. Well, that's why I'm thinking of them. That's why I'm in the fight. Because I want them to not go through the kind of things that our people went through 23, 24, 25 years ago. We were murdered. We were murdered in the streets. So I want you to comprehend that we were murdered in the streets. Look, I'm happy to be here all the time. I'm happy to come to you as not only as a revolutionist, but as an educator, not an educator. I'm happy to always be here to explain the etymologies of the words and things and system we live by so we can better have knowledge of what we're facing tomorrow. Dr. Matthews-Bey will always try to find the time to explain to you, to have it given to you at a respectable manner of who you are and what we need to identify ourselves by. For more information, you need to call the number at the bottom of your screen, and also for donations, which is 592-611-625-725. Please call that number straight or WhatsApp. I'll be able to talk to you. Do it by WhatsApp. I don't mind, but it's better that way. So we can exchange messages, we can have voice notes, or we can have a live discussion being discussed. I want to thank you very much to all of you that have joined me here tonight, that have tuned in. I want to say to you, stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, and wear a mask. Don't forget the little ones you take into public places. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey saying good night. Cheerios for now.